Fill something in, anything you want. Y'all always pick that one. If you want to put her and R on the end of that. All right. Go ahead. Key. Kaya. I had to think about it. Give me a minute. Still processing. I got all these different names and pronunciations to learn. I only have like 83 students this semester to try to remember. Y'all have 4, maybe 6 teachers, and I have 83 people. Now, these are not the only answers that can go in there. Centimeters, kilometers, anybody have anything different for that? What? I heard it. Meters is fine. Decimeters is fine. Millimeters are fine. Anything like that's fine. I should probably put an R up here on this equipment used so it doesn't just say time, but it says timer. All right, instead of having just a clock or a timer, you could have said stopwatch. That would have been fine also. All right, can I get another volunteer? Yeah. You want to put something on the board while you're there? Nah, why not?
That's lazy.
You're already halfway here.
So where's there?
It's right there by the computer.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll have a quiz on this tomorrow, by the way.
Tomorrow.
Wait, just this far?
Plus a little more that we're doing today.
And we gotta put it on tomorrow.
Yes.
No, tomorrow.
I know, it's crazy, man. Crazy.
Third day of school.
Third day.
We got laugh today.
Yes.
Laugh when you crazy, but. I got 3 tests. Oh yeah, that's.
All right. Minutes, and I think that's the seconds. Okay? Could have had what else up there? Anybody put hours would have been fine too. All right, somebody else. Can I get a volunteer before I draft? Edwin, turn your head towards me. Take that AirPod out of your ear. Go ahead.
I tried.
This is smart too.
Right.
Put it back in its charging case so that you don't turn your head away from me. Put it right back in your ear.
My head, cut off my hair.
It looks very, very nice.
It's cold.
Very good. Graduate cylinder. All right, can I get another volunteer? And lots of blanks still up there. No, you already went. Put your hand down. You're going to be one of those that I'm going to tell you you're on mute and you can't answer for a while. Because you're going to volunteer a lot. I know. How about Taz?
Dang.
Yeah, I see you roll his eyes up here, too. I felt like I was at home for a moment. It's by the computer.
I might write a little too big for this. No?
Okay, leaders is good. Hello. Fabulous. Who are you?
No leaders.
Sarah who? Sarah Fields. Who hasn't shown up that we don't know?
Rebecca.
Rebecca hadn't shown up. You can have her chair. Rebecca is sitting. I heard Brooklyn moved. Sit there behind Kimberly. Leaders is good. Middle leaders are good. Those are right.
No, I was asking.
All right, who else?
I was just asking. I was wrong.
You did.
SARA or H?
Anthony changed it. The second one. For what?
I guess if she shows up, we'll stick her somewhere going.
One side was changed it.
What happened?
I wrote the wrong thing.
What? Leaders and milliliters is right
Oh.
for length.
What? I know I wasn't done. I was finishing her thing.
All right.
I'm so confused. What happened?
You can write that. Keep going.
I
Just
know.
ignore them. Write your answer. All right. A meter, stick, and a ruler are correct.
God,
Don't throw that pen around.
I didn't think I was
Okay. If we break the pen,
know the meter.
the board doesn't work. We cannot write on it if we break the pen. So we jump with the pen. All right. How about somebody else? Go ahead, Jacqueline. And write this down, Sarah. Or you don't have to make it down.
Oh.
My son did it.
All right, so a thermometer, remember, spelled thermometer. All right, how about somebody else? Thank you, Stephen. Way to volunteer.
He likes to be called.
Oh, yeah, Caleb, I forgot. Caleb, thank you.
I would be like.
All right, milligrams, remember, you can use any derivative of grams, so it doesn't have to be milligrams, it can be kilograms, decigrams. All right, I got 2 more blanks left. Another volunteer? Who else?
Elena?
Yeah, Elena, come on up here.
Good thing she didn't have a weapon, she might have taken you 2 ladies out.
Not me. I don't know about her.
What? You can just like lay dead.
Yes?
I like to know how they have their eyes open.
All right, Celsius and Fahrenheit. And for mass, what piece of equipment are we gonna use? One more person. Go ahead, Jeremiah, you had your hand?
No.
Go ahead, Joey.
Come on up here, Jeremiah.
Nah.
Sorry. You're gonna have to be able to tell me tomorrow on the quiz.
Thank you.
Oh, so this whole little thing.
Part of that little thing. I'm not gonna put the whole thing,
Oh, 'cause I
but
think-
parts of it, yes. And a triple beam balance. Everybody got it? All right, find your homework. I'm not checking it because I knew several people would have issues. And I've already had a couple people come to me and say, Ms. Wall, I know how to do this.
Man, you should have checked. That's a free money for me.
All right, and Unica wasn't here either.
Oh, God.
Get your mouth out your pencil. Get your pencil out your mouth.
That's okay. I just don't do that because we don't have any pieces of equipment that's like that.
I don't be getting what I say.
Now, keep that in a safe place. Label it opening 1. Draw a line under it tomorrow. Tomorrow, put opening 2 right under it. You do not need 10 sheets of paper for openings. See how many you can get on 1 sheet of paper? I don't save for turtles. I do use plastic straws. We can save some trees and use less paper. I know, I've already had 2 people yell at me today because I had a biscuit milk cup with a plastic straw in it today.
How do you say it's turtle?
Don't use plastic straws, apparently. Yeah, they eat it. Hey, I put it in a trash bag. It goes to the landfill. I'll throw it in the stream.
The turtle nose, and that was pulling it out. I know those can things.
I can't fix that the landfill people don't do what they're supposed to do. I know it's not the point. Alright. So if we look at your homework, this is what you're going to do in a few minutes. We worked with the ruler yesterday. Alright, so today, pay attention. Because if you do this wrong in the lab, you lose points. Labs aren't, oh, I went to the lab, I got to play with the equipment. You turn it in wrong, I take points off. Nothing is a freebie in here. Alright, so when you do this, let me use some real equipment for a second. Alright, all the equipment, first of all, weighs a different amount, so every group's going to have something different. Let me find my calculator. So when you want to find the mass of something, we talked about this earlier, yesterday, and I asked you how to do this, and some of you said, I've done this before, but the way you told me, I was left a little skeptical. So which of those weights do you move first? The big one, okay? Now, there are groups on this scale. Let me move it here to the middle of my desk so it's a little more centered. All right? So you move it into the grooves until what happens? It goes down. So it's on 300. When it goes down, it's saying, I weigh more than 300, so it's too heavy. So you go back to the 200, and it has to sit in the groove. It can't be sitting between the V, okay? Now you go to the next heaviest, which is on the back, and you do the same thing again. You slide it along in the V's until it does what? It goes down. And when I say down, I mean it stays down. All right, so the 60 is too heavy. So you go back 1. All right, now is the part where most people think of, oh, it's like the leveling. And you have to take, I usually use a pencil or a pen so that it's easier to slide. All right, and you're going to slide. Taz, bring me your phone. Oh, you don't have it in your hand? Okay, looks like you do from this angle.
No, one hand's in my lap.
Okay. Pay attention then. All right, so you're just going to slide this along until the 2 lines line up. Okay? And you're going to keep doing it until they line up. And you're just going to bump it a little more until they equal. Now, when it does, you get something that looks like what you have on the screen. Okay? So, once that happens, how do we read it when it looks like this? All right, so what is the middle one right here pointing at?
600.
It's pointing at 600. Okay, what is the top one pointing at? Plus 20. Remember what we said yesterday? We said we'd add them all together. So you got 600 plus 20. Now, the bottom one is the one that's going to have the decimal. So this is the ones. And these little lines right there are the tenths. So you got to count those little tenths. So are we all the way up to the 3?
No.
So it's 2 and then point something, something, something.
I think it's
0.9.
Okay, so plus 2 point, and I hear what? 9? Okay, so 2.9. So if you can have that in your head, fabulous. Some of you can just read it in your head. But if you can't, there are the calculators. Get a calculator and add it up. Okay? So 600 plus 20 is 620. Plus 2 is 622.9. Now, all measurements have a unit on them. Yesterday's worksheet had the units already on there for you. So, anybody who's sitting next to a scale, look at the scale and tell me what the unit is on the scale. Yep. It's a gram. It says it at the end of the scale. All right, so what are we going to do for the second one? What's the middle beam say? Says 100 right here. So that's pointing down to 100. All right, plus, what's it pointing to right here? That's a 50. It's between 40 and 60, so it's a 50. And then plus, what does it look like here? 3.7. If you said 3.6, it's okay. So 153.7 grams. If you said 153.6, I would not mark it wrong. Okay? So for the last one, what does the middle beam say? What's the middle beam? 200. What's the top beam? 0. What's this beam? Okay, so 0.5. So when you add that together, what do you get? So 200.5 grams. All right, so the people who said to me before class started, Miss Wall, I don't get it. Does that make sense? All right, because you're going to be doing this in a couple minutes. All right, so I told you not to do that one because we don't have any graduated cylinders that work like that. All of ours are this one and that one. All right, so this one reads to the tens place. So there's no tenths on this. Okay, so there's no tenths, which means there's basically no decimals. Okay, you're reading whole numbers on the graduated cylinder. So if this is 50 and that's 60, this means that's what? 51, 52, 53, 54,
56.
56. All right, so those of you who can see the graduated cylinders, tell me what the unit is at the top of the graduated cylinder. It's what? It's milliliters. All right, and for the last one, this one's in the middle. Okay? So that's 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So what are you going to do if this is 23 and that's 24? Most people, even in physical science, will write that as 23.5 milliliters. Now, if you wrote 23 or you wrote 24, I will take any of those answers. Okay? If you were in chemistry, I would not. But in physical science, I will take any of the three. Questions about how to do that? All right. All right, we have 27, and I have 13 lab setups, which means I need one group of 3 people, okay? Because I've got 2 on every counter, except the one in the very back by the laptop cart. I have a setup there. The people who use that very back setup are going to need to get water from a different sink. That is not a sink setup, so you're going to have to get water from somewhere else. Now, let's talk a little bit about what you've got. First of all, when you go to the counter, take this carefully out and set it off to the side. All right? Please be very careful with these. Lift the white bumper guards to the top. They're a different purpose. I use them for bumper guards. That way, if you accidentally knock the graduated cylinder over, they work as bumper guards. These are the most expensive piece of equipment you will use today. We're broke. We cannot afford new pieces of graduated cylinder. Yeah. So if you break them, we don't have $20 to buy a new one. So I need you to try not to break these. All right? The scales I've illustrated. The graduated cylinder, when you use, they're pretty self-explanatory with reading the lines. The beaker, when I tell you to fill to the bottom line, I'm talking about these lines. Not these lines. Well, I can't remember if I said bottom line or first line on the lab. All right? I'm talking about these lines. Put a little bit of water in them. Not way up here. A little bit of water. Okay? Don't get crazy and fill the whole beaker up. Now, when you go to turn the water on, gently turn the water on. Okay? Now, when you go to turn the water off, gently turn the water off. When it turns off, it might drip a little bit, but even my little fat pudgy hand should fit under the faucet handle. Okay? Do not mash the crap out of the handle so it's touching the counter. Because at the end of class, I will go around and stick my fat little pudgy hand under these and pull them up. Yeah, I insult myself all the time over there. All right? Because these things have mechanisms inside that will break if you smash this handle all the way down to the counter, and they will leak badly by the time I retire. And we're trying to save the equipment as long as we possibly can. Okay? The second thing I would say to you is don't do this. Because if you do that, and then you stick this glassware in, I'm not going to do it, but if I do that, it's going to hit the water, and the water is going to spray everywhere. Okay? And then your other lab mates, they get pissed because they get wet. All their papers get wet. I'm getting ready to, I forgot, turn on the ventilation system. I used the wrong sink. Woo! Woo! Didn't mean to do that to y'all. That's what happens when people put food down the drain. Don't pour stuff down my sink. Somebody put milk down the drain. It stinks, don't it? That's what happens. It'll get better at about, all of the air will recirculate out of the room in 20 minutes. You won't be able to smell anything. It'll smell like it did when you got here. 20 minutes. It gets better in less than 20 minutes. Don't get all worked up. However, don't turn the water on real high so it doesn't spray everybody. See, there you go. Now, on your lab sheet today, I forgot to change out the paper. So a lot of you are getting cardstock. You will not normally get cardstock for a lab sheet. It's just for today. I just forgot to take my $5 cardstock out of the machine, so you get nice paper today. Make sure when you're filling out the data table, and you write a number down, you write what on it. You have to write a what on the number. What, I heard it. The unit. It does get better, people. It doesn't stay that bad.
It's not like a
I'll go to that in the morning.
farm.
I'll run some water at the end of the day and it'll flush the sinks. It just hasn't been run in a few months.
Wait, so honestly,
It's that one and that one that are bad. The rest of them are fine. Hey, I have enough for everybody to get cardstock. Alright, so on your data table, make sure you put numbers and units. If you forget, you will lose points. Please write your first and last name on your papers, particularly for about 2 weeks, okay? So I learned everybody's names and last names. It's really helpful. After a couple weeks, I will know your names and last names. But like I said, I gotta have 3 people learn here in the next couple weeks. So help me out. Now, I don't care who you pick for a partner. We do need to have one group of 3, not a bunch of groups of 3. Okay? One. Do I have a group of 3? Taz's group? All right. Taz's group is a group of 3 today. Next time it'll be a different group of 3. Okay? Everybody else should be a group of 2 if I did my math right. There's 20, what did I say, 27?
Yeah.
There's 13 lab stations. 13 times 2 is 26. 1 extra is 27. I should be good to go. Everybody should have what they need. Now, 2 things you're going to have to get. Rulers are here. The thermometers are here. And I'm going to set them on the table. Do not leave your thermometers in stuff because you will break it and knock it over. All right? When you get it, take it to wherever you need it. Insert thread into the water. Don't give it more than about a minute. It's not going to take it long. Read the numbers. When you're done, bring it right back over here. Carefully let it slide through both holes. Okay? Everybody got it? Yeah. Okay, go. Bow. Bow.
What do you want me to get?
You only got about 20 minutes.
What?
Don't get the root or the thermometer until you need it. That way you don't break it.
No, you don't. Is this another birthday?
Yep, I'm bringing the scale back.
I didn't even say nothing to him.
Everybody find a partner.
No, I got
You don't have a partner, find one.
I thought it was just those two this long.
Right.
Of the
Nick, who you working with? We don't have a partner. I know. Yeah, Ken Suda's gonna work with you. Come here. Our good start. We're gonna start. Hang on one second. That portable, I love this one.
That's how they
Huh? Oh, you hit the very back? Let's go with somebody sitting up. All right, what's the question? Oh. Hey, Sam.
No, it said.
Look.
I got it. I got it.
What?
This was down is too loud.
When what's down? It doesn't matter about that. All matters about what happens over here in relation to that line. Who else is having trouble with the scale? It's gotta sit in a group, not between the groups. There you go. It's never that back one. It's not in a group. It's gonna be very close. Based on what it's got. Mass left back. Let's see what we Alright, so we'll do this.
Plus 0, plus
If you know the mass of the beaker by itself, and you know the beaker and the water together, okay, so you know the beaker, let's just say beaker's 100. One beaker and water together 150. And you get
I think theirs is different than ours. I think everybody's
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think this is important. Stick that one back up and use this one. Because this one's about what I expected it to be about. That one's got mechanical issues. This is the master.
Bruh, how do y'all look?
0. This will be 9. So I go pretty You got it? Now go
How
Once we get done with this entire thing.
We just add the beaker.
Beaker's gone.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
What's the beaker? This.
Oh, okay.
I thought the beaker was big.
No, that's good.
Let me get that, I'll leave y'all.
That's the beaker.
If you know the master beaker, and you know the beaker and the water together, what do you do?
And that's the beaker water.
Oh.
Minus the
Yes. Yeah. You got this one? Yeah. 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 Well, they're all gonna be different, but it's involved first, yeah. 1.7, okay. All right, and now to find the nice water, we're gonna do what?
When I sat down, it went up.
Yeah.
And I was the first thing I put it right there.
All right, what y'all think? Hang on. What?
It's a date.
All right, Moses, question. Tim, and then you.
Put that water.
You can, or you pour back in the beaker and do it.
Wait, is the first
We're talking about right
We only feel the, they said the first one.
That's fine.
That's
fine. The amount of water is really irrelevant as long as there's water.
Okay, is the water?
A mass show that we talked about. Look at the scale, let's use it on the scale.
Yeah, you put it in
If you know the mass of the beaker, and you know the mass of the beaker and the water together, how do you get just the water? Yes.
I know this.
How long has the water been?
A minute or less. The water is largely room temperature.
Way too much.
Keep it in its just being up like it's not like 30 seconds.
You were on the feel the bigger, the first line right here.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's your
Yeah,
size.
and then it lit up.
Exactly 50.
We don't have one below.
Oh, you use that.
Remember, when you do length and width, you're not doing inches, centimeters.
How does my paper get wet?
Sorry.
Or you can just put it on there like milliliters and graduated from the speaker, just read the counter and speaker.
Wait, how does it feel? What? Yeah, that's easy.
That's what I was gonna say. I was yeah, because that's where it's high.
Wait, I didn't get the thing.
That was good. That was pretty cool. We just want to
Yeah.
Yeah, I said 21.
We should be getting close to done.
Yeah, you're right. Good job. We'll see you later.
It doesn't.
Is this the last one?
What is the what is
Wait, I ain't gonna.
Yeah, you gotta answer questions.
What you're wearing there.
But you also need to definitely take way higher. Yes, go for Yeah.
Any capital has to be
But so we keep going.
That's all they want. They want to
Where the water. The volume of water is right here. Hey, yo, that's the.
brilliant people.
That's tough.
Check the fingerprints, I ain't do it.
What did you break? Was it the beaker or the graduated cylinder? What'd you break? At least it's the cheaper of the two.
Bruh, how you, the second day of school, bruh, the second day. It's his fault. Yeah, that's ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it, so you just walk over, bro. Ethan got paid. I agree.
Man, throw that in your life.
What up? Why you trying to break up the second day, bro? The second day, bro.
How do you like? Sit down.
The second day. I was trying to help you. You would know what I saw.
It's not inches, it's not.
It's so right out.
How much is it? But okay,
It's
broke this. We're done.
More like $5.
I can want to know that. Daddy, where you working? It's fun.
It's his fault.
Bro, we was going. We were going.
It was like, how do you do this? He was confused.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll take.
Start tomorrow. The next one. Try not to break the equipment.
Something like that.
I hated that. All I saw was alright, you made it.
Really, Shelby? Last sheets on my desk.
Make sure your last name is on yours. Show your last name. A little fun, the whole room.
Normally it goes to the chair, but I got crap in the chair.
It was so loud.
Get it finished up. Make sure all the water's dumped out of your equipment. Thermometers go on the back table. Ruler's on my front desk.
Wait. You were just trying.
You were trying to rush it, bro.
Not fine.
He was rushing, bro.
I give you back 2 minutes, and I need your papers up here on my desk. Yes, we are.
What should I title
Area volume and density. Huh? Yeah. Here.
Is it gonna say that on board? No, I have to spell the first word.
Area, volume, or around your neck. Okay? Area, volume, density.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like aerospace. Oh.
1 minute. Orange stack on my desk. It normally goes in the chair, but I gotta move that crap. My guys in the back, if you're done, put your butt in the chair. Rulers go back on my desk. Thermometers go back in the stand at the back. Thermometers. You gotta put it up. Okay, as long as you put it up. Yeah.
Yeah, dog.
Pick you up. Almost 3 o'clock. It's wood. You can't break that.
With my luck, I probably would.
Guess what he just did?
I did love
It was the water. It was slippery. I'm trying to help him, but we was already trying to help him.
These gloves or something to help him hang on to things. Wicker's class probably didn't lose any glassware today. We both beat. Alright, so we're going to refresh our memories on area and volume and calculate density. Alright, so those of you who like titles, there's a title for you. Now, what do you have a title? Now, what did I tell you about that All Pass?
I just took it off. I swear I did.
Wear it on your neck, to and from. You shouldn't take it off. You get all the way back up here. The whole reason for it being around your neck is so that it stays clean and sanitary. Remember those nasty vests? Remember how gross they were? People threw them on the floor, drug them around. This is so they don't do that. All right. So area, volume, and density. We're going to talk, Nick. Now we're going to talk about these three, especially from a unit standpoint on area and volume. Okay? Because most of you should remember how to calculate area and volume from math class years ago. Density is my curriculum, but area and volume, not so much. So if we talk about area, just to refresh, tell me the formula for area. It's what? Don't give me a triangle. Just think about a regular old square or rectangle one. Length times, that's volume. Trim it down to area. Just length times width. Okay, so area is length times width. So if you want to find the area, let's just say we have a really ugly square. All right, when my daughter was in, I can't remember if it was kindergarten or first grade, they told me she had to know that was called a special rectangle. It wasn't a square, it was a special rectangle. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I've got to teach that's called a special rectangle, not a square. They're like, yeah. All right, so we've got a special rectangle up here instead of a square. Now, we want to find its area. Everybody can find the area of this, right? The reason that we're talking about it is so you put the correct unit on. You better forget the units on those lab sheets before I grade them in the wall. Nobody left study tables blank with no units on them, right? You didn't just write numbers in them, did you?
Right.
You put units on the end of all 7 numbers, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because if you didn't, it's going to be -7. Huh? You didn't write like 100.5 and no grams on the end, right? Nobody did that. Some. Then it's only -1 for the ones you said some on. All right, so area equals 4 centimeters times 4 centimeters. And what do you get?
16.
Okay, there's part of our answer. What's the rest of our answer? CM, I needed one more piece. Think math class. Squared, that's the piece we need. All right, so anytime you multiply an x times an x, in math class, y'all get x squared, right? So in science class, when you multiply a centimeter times a centimeter, we get a what? You get a centimeter squared, okay? So whenever you see this squared, that tells us that something is an area, okay? So that's why we're talking about area. So when you multiply a centimeter times a centimeter, you get a centimeter squared, okay? If you had multiplied, for example, in English units, has anybody ever seen on tire pressure it says pounds per square inch? No? Okay, that's because we're in America. We use square inches. Because we use area, it'll be inches squared. All right, does everybody have what they need? Yes? No? Need me to wait? Okay, so volume, which we're going to use because we're going to do density. So you're going to use this one in the lab that I've been telling you about that's really long. All right, you're going to find the volume of a block of wood. What's the formula for volume, Shelby? Since you gave it to me a second ago. Okay, so volume is equal to length times width times height. So let's say that you have a cube of some type. It's not an exact cube. It has 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 3 centimeters. And you want to find its volume. Same premise holds when it's time to find its unit. So, volume is equal to 3 centimeters by 4 centimeters by 2 centimeters. So 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. Now, what happens in math class when you say x times x times x? It's x cubed. So what happens when you do the same thing with centimeters? Centimeters cubed. Okay? So, this cubed right here tells us that it's volume. Everybody with us on that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Whew. All right. We're going to finish with our review with density. Tell me what y'all remember about density. You did it in middle school, probably did it in 8th grade, maybe earlier, probably talked about it some in earth science also. What are some things you remember about density?
No.
Y'all don't.
No, for real. Isn't it like something, the higher the density, the more waste, the higher the mass?
All right, it's not a bad guess. Okay, it's not quite the right language for it, but it's not necessarily all wrong. Okay, she said the higher the density, the more it weighs. Anybody else?
The lower the density, the less the weight.
I said it wasn't all wrong. Come on. Anybody remember anything else? There's usually a word people think about with density.
What's it start with?
F,
Huh?
What's the second letter?
L,
Fluffy.
What's the last letter?
I was about to say something else.
Density.
T, what?
Float?
Yes.
I know it, bro.
Oh, the more dense, no, the less dense something is, things float,
Mm-hmm.
and the more dense they sink.
Correct.
Yeah, I get that idea.
I was correct.
Full of yourself over there today. All right. So density. Density is defined as mass per unit of volume. Okay, mass per unit of volume. When we think of our three states of matter, going to what Shelby talked about, okay, solids have more mass in a smaller area. Okay? So they're going to have a higher density. Okay? Because they have more mass in that smaller area, that's why they come across as being heavier. Okay? Because they have more mass and they're contained in a smaller area, they're going to have a heavier mass. All right? Just like if you had a balloon, balloons have a larger volume and a smaller mass, they're going to be lighter. So they're going to come across as less mass because they're not going to weigh as much. So the thing that I want you to keep in mind that's important for our curriculum is the formula, which is density equals mass over volume. And I'm going to show you something about keeping track of the formula in just a second. But the more important thing is, suppose you have some drink. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is I can't draw jack. Okay? My artistic ability is incredibly poor. And you will find that out as we cruise through the semester and I draw more really bad pictures. Okay? Here's some ice. And here's the drink of your choice. It can be a soft drink, it can be water, it can be tea, it can be lemonade. I don't care what it is. Okay? But if you put ice in a drink, where does the ice go?
Top.
Goes to the top. All right? Because ice will do what? The ice will float. Now, why will the ice float? It's less dense. Okay? Less dense materials float. More dense sink. Now, if you're a fan of Italian dressing.
Oh, that's good.
That's me. I had some little babies.
So if you're a fan of that, you know before you put it on your food, what do you have to do to it?
Check it out.
Shake it up. There's two reasons why. One has to do with chemistry, with polar and non-polar liquids. You might have talked about that in biology, no idea. But the reason we're talking about today is the two liquids have different what? The two liquids have different what? Densities. So one density is greater and one density is less. So the one that's less dense goes to the top and the one that's greater goes to the bottom. And so if you want the oil and vinegar to mix, you have to do what with them? Mix them up. You gotta shake them and then you can put it on your salad. Okay? And if you don't want it mixed, I guess you don't have to. But most people prefer them to be mixed on their salad. Okay? Now, as we cruise through this semester, we're going to have lots of formulas. You have to know how to use them. I am. You do not have to memorize them. Okay? Do not take notes on the sheet of paper. You have to put your name on it so that you can use this sheet of paper on every quiz and every test.
Oh.
If it has a math formula on it, and you're like, dang, I don't remember that formula, Miss Ball, no problem. Pull out your reference table. By the time you take the exam, we will have covered every single thing on here, and you will know how to use it if you do your part. Some of you will look at me and be like, I don't know what to do with that thing. And the only person you have to blame is yourself if you do that to me. And I'll be honest, I'll be pissed if you tell me you don't know what to do with this thing. Put your nutrient there. But put your name on it, so if you leave it laying in here, I can get it back to you. It's on cardstock, which is why your lab is on cardstock, because I forgot to take my high dollar cardstock out of the copy machine. And I was really annoyed with myself when I did that too. Because this stuff is expensive. Now, if you look on the back side, you will find the density formula. I think it's the top one on the back.
No,
The bottom one on the back. Okay. All right, but there's your density formula. Given it's the only one we're going to use for a few days, it's not hard to find the density formula. Okay? Now, we want to solve a couple math problems and make sure everybody's on the same page and can solve. Most of you, if you're going to have an issue, it will be with your algebra, not with finding the numbers. Now, the reason we learned the units was so that hopefully you can plug them in. So, I don't think we need that. Let's go there. Let's talk about this one. Do you need to write? I don't think you need to do this one, but I'll wait if you need me to. You tell me. Anybody need me to wait? No. Okay. Now, if y'all will speak up, Anthony's going to speak for you. I've already figured that out in 2 days. All right. So when you look at this question, what am I asking you to find? I'm asking you to find the density. All right. So if we're looking for density, density is equal to mass divided by volume, which is what your lab is going to be. We should hopefully get started on it tomorrow. All right. So what is the mass that I gave you in this question? 45 what?
Grams.
Okay. This one is about the units, which is why we're working this. That's why I asked you. Over, what is the volume? 15 milliliters. Now, if you punch 45 divided by 15 in the calculator, you're going to get 3. Now, I want you to tell me about these units. Do they have anything in common when we divide? Is anything going to cancel out? Nothing is the same. So when you write the answer, you have to write them both. So you're going to write your answer is grams per or grams over milliliters. You can't get rid of either of them. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you a minute to write it down if you want to write it down. All right, but you have to keep both units. You cannot get rid of either unit in that answer. Okay? So density is the only unit we have that has both parts. Okay? Okay, so whenever you see a mass over a volume, this tells you that that is a density unit. So when you're going shouldn't have to mark Sarah here, because we just got moved in, so shouldn't be an issue with that. All right. We caught up? You said wait up? Okay. All right, we caught up? My Anthony's gonna put the phones away. All right, so what am I asking to find this time? Find the mass, okay? So this time, density equals mass divided by volume. All right, you said I'm looking for mass, so I've got D and V. All right, first of all, the questions will not be color-coded on any assignment. They're only color-coded here for teaching purposes, and they're, not usually color-coded. All right, so what is my density? Okay, so it says density of 4, so I'm going to put density here. What is my volume? 60, so I'm going to put my volume there. Now, this is if we're going to have an issue where we have the issue. It's not in usually plugging in. It's in using your math skills. If you have stellar math skills, solve it any way you want to. If you're borderline on your math skills, I recommend cross multiplying, because the thing that students do wrong is they just stink at fractions, okay? I can admit I wasn't very good at fractions either when I was your age, all right? My kids aren't very good at fractions. My husband is a idiot savant with fractions. We don't talk to him when we do math in my house. I make him go sit in the garage because I can't work with him either. All right, so in your head, either visualize a 1 or just know it's there. Cross multiply. What's nothing or 1 times m? What's 4 times 60? If you don't know, get a calculator. There's a whole box right there. Okay, I don't want to see anybody on their cell phones using their calculator, but anytime you need one, they're right there. Okay, so I've heard several people give the right answer. So it's 240. Now, for the purposes of finding the unit, look at the word problem. You have milliliters and grams per milliliters. What do you suppose is going to happen this time with the units? What's going to happen? All right. Why would you say that? Let me guess. Hold on. It's either Ernesto or Esteban. Which one had the long hair? Ernesto? Okay. All right. So Ernesto, why would you say it's going to be milliliters? Okay. It's not a bad guess. All right. But because there's 2 of them, instead of it being that, what do you think would happen in math class if there's 2 of them? They cancel. Okay. So the milliliters are going to cancel. So what are we going to be left with? Grams. And think about it. We were solving for mass, and what unit did we learn yesterday was a mass unit? Grams. So mass will be grams. Okay? You okay with that? All right, let's try one where we solve for volume. All right. Do you want me to let you write or just solve it?
Go ahead, solve it. Go ahead.
You
write it, but you can go ahead and solve it.
Does anybody need me to wait? No? Okay, I'm just asking because I don't want Anthony to be the local mouthpiece and then y'all mad. All right. So if we're solving for volume, all right, that means we have to know density and mass. So, what is my density? Okay. What is my mass? And then over volume. And generally, I leave the units out when I do this so it doesn't clutter up the problem. All right, so again, what am I going to do to solve for V? I'm going to cross multiply. So, what do I get when I cross multiply? What's nothing times 35? What's 2.4 times V? So, once I get there, everybody knows how to get V by itself. What do I do to get V by itself? I hear divide. Divide by what? 2.4. All right, so 35 divided by 2.4 is what? I need a calculator because none of y'all got calculators. 14.5. All right, so Ernesto, what unit am I going to have this time? What unit am I going to have this time? If I look at my 2 units, what am I going to have? Centimeters. There you go. Good job. Centimeters cubed. You feel okay about that? Everybody have what they want? All right, because I want to do one more. Just got to find it. I don't know if it's here. No, it's not here. I got to go into something else. Does everybody have what they need? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Just got to find it. All right, suppose I put one like this on the test or the quiz. Would you know what to do if you saw something like this? No. Okay. What did y'all tell me about density? All right, I want you to arrange those objects in the graduated cylinder. All right, so who goes where? Who goes to the top? Yep, you're not. Hold on. Jacqueline. Who? How do you know, or how do you guess? What was the rule? All right, the lesser dense goes to the top. Okay? So less dense goes to the top. So who would go to the bottom? The more dense. Okay? The more dense goes to the bottom. So if we know this rule, that the less dense floats and the more dense sinks, what would we have to do in order to figure it out? Okay, so what would we have to figure out? We'd have to calculate the densities. So how would I find the density of object 1? What would I do? Let me find some people here. Nancy, what would I do to find the density of object 1? Divide what? You can just tell me the numbers and I'll be happy. You hush. What? 15 divided by 3. Okay? So density is mass, which is 15, divided by 3, and we get 5. All right? Tell me what to do for object 2. How about Elizabeth? I'm trying to call on people who won't talk to me. What? Okay? So 20 by 6, I get 3.3. How about in number 3 up here? Zachary, what would I do for object 3? Can you see it?
So I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know.
All right, so if we want to find the density of object 3, the mass is 30 and the volume is 10. So if the mass is 30 and the volume is 10, how would we find the density? Yes, so what's the mass? What I just tell you the math was, what's right here.
Oh,
30 divided by, what's the volume? So what do you get when you say 30 divided by 10? Okay, so that's the density there. All right, and what do we do for object 4, Edwin? How do we find object 4's density? All right, what two numbers am I dividing? Okay, so we get 10. All right, so who's going to the bottom of my graduated cylinder? Let's say Esteban this time. Which one's going to the bottom of the graduated cylinder? Ernesto, don't you tell Esteban the answer. All right, who's going to the bottom? Object 4, okay, has the biggest density, so I agree. All right, who's going to be right above it? Jonathan? This object is out. It's already at the bottom. Yep. Who's going to be above that one? Danny. Okay. And who's going to be at the top then? Let's say Jeremiah. Yep. Questions about how to do that? Think we're okay? All right. Let's talk about what we're going to do for practice tonight. You try not to copy any homework tonight. I don't give homework every night. I do not give homework every night. There are more nights that you will not have homework than you will.
I took a nap, never woke back up.
So I like it when you go to sleep and not wake up.
No, the orange paper's yours. That's what you're saying on it. I might. I didn't check tonight, so I just might. You got one of the conference. Now, some of these homework answers are not numbers. Did everybody hear me say that? Some are not numbers. Like they might be side C, or it might be volume, or it might be density. They're not all going to be numbers. Yes, dear. What did I miss? Anybody else not turn in their lab sheet? There you go. I did not. Oops, I thought you had it. No, you wouldn't have. You'd have got a 0 if I was checking. Because you didn't bother to say to me today. But well, I didn't get one. I need one calculator. Yes.
I'll tell her no.
Yes.
If you didn't have it in
Where's my missing calculator? Behind it. And we didn't put a ruler up over here. Who worked that counter and didn't put a ruler up? I'll have to see.
If you're not used to it.
What did you talk about?